Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Security Health Plan Academy, a monthly webinar series designed to provide you with information relevant to your health, wellness, and healthcare plan. Just a few quick notes before we get started today. Please remain on mute throughout the presentation. There will be time at the end of our session today for questions and answers. You can submit your questions using the chat feature here in Zoom. We will send everyone here today a follow-up email later this month with a link to the presentation, a PDF of the slide deck, as well as responses to all the questions that were submitted. Today we have WebMD health coach Thad Hubel here to present this month's webinar, Decoding Fitness Trends. Coach Thad will cover the benefits and recommendations of exercise and provide an overview of current fitness trends that support at-home and outdoor exercise. Coach Thad has a Bachelor of Science degree in exercise science and over 20 years of experience working in the health and wellness field. He is an ACE certified personal trainer and health coach and is trained in conditions management and tobacco cessation coaching. We're excited to partner with WebMD Health Services. WebMD has been designing well-being programs for health plans for more than 20 years. The company provides resources from a well-being platform, which Security Health Plan members have access to through your My Security Health Plan member portal. WebMD also provides solutions to create a well-being experience that supports each member's goals, culture, and needs. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Coach Thad as he presents on decoding fitness trends.
Thank you. Well, good day, everybody. Again, my name's Thad. As of next month, officially will have been certified as a trainer for 27 years. And the neat thing is I actually have one of my first clients. I've been training him for 26 years. And just here in a couple months, he's turning 80. So had him for a lot of years and through a lot of time out there. And it's neat to see people staying fit. Now that I'm 50, seeing people staying fit as we age as well. So, but today we're going to talk about decoding fitness trends. So a few things we're going to talk about today is I'm going to highlight the benefits of different fitness components for your overall health. So the first thing is, why do we exercise? What benefits are we going to gain from it, right? So we all want to know what that is. Then I'm going to give you some basic guidelines. So people ask me all the time, how much should I be doing for exercise? So we can talk about that, maybe some numbers to shoot for there. Coming from a trainer, how to have an effective workout. So pretty important, right? So if you want to get results, if you're doing something. And then we'll look at some of the trends, some of the things out there I'm seeing, popularity with things that are out there currently right now, and give you some tips and tricks on how to make your workout even more productive for you. Okay, so as I was saying, the first thing we want to talk about is the benefits. So again, we want results from what we're getting, or why are we doing it in the first place? So I'll let you pick from this list. See if there's anything here that you're, it'd be neat to hear from any of you as well. Are you gaining any of this? So if you are currently exercising, have you noticed any benefits of these things as well? So basically what we call our ADLs, activities for daily living. So just being in shape and active, think of it like taking your body to school. We're training it to stay moving, stay mobile, and that can improve little things like opening pickle jars to getting up and down stairs, in and out of our chairs, things like that are very important as we age. So can help out a lot there. I know a lot of people are going to be doing landscaping if they haven't already started. So regular exercise routines can keep that going as well. Increases bone health, especially for women as we age, right? This can be a big one. And regular weight-bearing activity can keep our bones strong. That's very important. A lot of people don't realize that we can improve sleep quality from exercise. So it can tire us out through the day. And what that can do is help us sleep better in the evenings as well. Also, as we exercise, we will keep our energy levels up. So we don't drain as quickly through the day if we've been exercising. It may tire us out a little bit while we do it, but over time that can help sustain our energy through the day. It's also great for boosting brain health. And also with that, you see emotional well-being. So things like depression, especially as we're coming out of winter and getting into spring. It's great to get out, get some exercise, can help with that, but also with memory function, and things like that with brain health. So exercise has been shown to help out with that as well. One, I'm big with what I do for my job is develop muscular strength and endurance. So you can last longer with activities you're doing, and you will be stronger doing them. So again, it's that use it or lose it principle. It's one of those things, if you can keep strong now, that can help you in the decades to come. In fact, the studies even show, and I've seen this personally with my clients, the people that are exercising in their 50s, 60s, and 70s actually get more results from their activity than people that were doing it in their 20s or 30s. So our body is craving activity. So if we can get moving, that is excellent. Also can reduce risk of chronic conditions. So how many of us out here, the doctor said, okay, we need to watch our blood sugar, blood pressure, cholesterol, these kinds of things. So it can help with diabetes. So anything that we can do to exercise can also help with these numbers. And I always recommend to people too is definitely talk to your doctor about your exercise program. If you're starting something new or changing something, let them know, make sure that it is okay and they're okay with your exercise routine as well. You want to watch your progressions and stay injury free. And a big one, reduce risk for falls for older adults. We'll talk about balance here in a bit, but the more big term proprioception, the more we have awareness of our body and movements, this can help us as we age to be our locomotion to where we can reduce our risks of falling as well. So a lot of great benefits that we can gain there from exercise, if not today, in the next decade, right? With those as well. So next we'll talk about the guidelines and numbers. So the big thing here with this is, don't want to scare anybody. If you see these numbers, if you're not there, don't worry about it. It's one of those things where these are great numbers to work towards. If you are there, it'd be neat to hear people that are doing this amount of activity as well. But the guidelines typically for aerobic or cardiovascular activity is typically, and we'll get into these a little bit, what the difference between moderate, vigorous, things like that is. But it's about 150 to 300 minutes per week of activity, of moderate intensity activity. So if you think of it, maybe 30 minutes, 5 days a week kind of idea is actually a really good place for heart health and getting benefits, okay? Now, when we come to another component, the strength training, 2 to 3 times a week of working all your major muscle groups is good. So even I've had people that are limited, they've had surgeries, there's maybe joints that aren't working as well as they used to, is you can work around those areas. So think about the areas that you don't have issues. That's a great place to start with the strength training routine. I talk to people all the time to say, I'm doing it once every 2 weeks. Why don't I see results? So you want to work those muscles 2 to 3 times a week for adaptation to happen in the next 4 to 6 weeks, okay? So if you're fitting small things in, that's pretty important just to work on that. And then also flexibility training, same idea, 2 to 3 days a week to improve your range of motion, create joint stability. And that can happen again at the same time you're doing the strength training, okay? So just some numbers there. Again, if you're not there today, that's okay. If you are there, congratulations, that's beautiful. Some people even do more than this, but that's a good rounded area to be with a good balanced routine. So some people like to be cardio heavy, they love walking, but maybe they're not so great on the strength training. So some people like to strength train and not so much with the cardio. So it's one of those things, if you can hit all of this, it makes like a good stew. You're putting all the right components in, and this can enhance your fitness level if you're getting all these components in as well. So with that cardio I was talking about, the different intensities. So it's basically anything that raises your heart rate, where you're working a little harder. So low intensity, but would be walking. Maybe you walk your dog. You're just going out for a light bike ride, household work, things like that. More of a moderate intensity exercise would be if you're going for a brisk walk, maybe a little heavier with the yard work. Maybe you're taking a low impact exercise class. Maybe you're doing silver sneakers. You're in a class like that, something like that, or swimming. Water aerobics could be classified in this. And then for those that are staying really in shape and they have a regular exercise routine, they could be high intensity. So this could be jogging, running, cycling, maybe with a group, or doing higher end classes. If you've been doing that, you don't want to just start high intensity, you want to work yourself up to it. But those numbers I was giving you, the 150 minutes a week for moderate here would be going for a great brisk walk, 5 days a week, 30 minutes, or however you want to break it up. And the higher intensity would be about the 75 minutes, half of that. And it can be a combination of the two. So maybe you say I jog twice a week where my heart rate's up a little more, and maybe I walk twice a week as well. So it can change depending on what your day looks like as well. Okay. Now with the strength training, that's any activity that requires your muscles to work against resistance. So I've had people tell me, oh, I go for a walk, I'm strength training my legs. I wish I could say we are. It's good, but more strength training activity would be getting out of a chair. So is maybe getting out of the chair, sitting down again, getting up again. So doing that 3, 5, 10, 15 times, as you see at the bottom, now we're starting to engage the muscles more and they're going to get stronger. Okay, so that's what you're looking for with strength training, is making sure that you're challenging the muscles a little bit with what you're doing. Okay, this can be done with just things like body weight. You might have dumbbells. If you're going to the gym, you might have machines. Resistance bands at home are great ways to do this as well. And you want a resistance that you're still using good form. So I know as we age, we don't cheat as much as we did in the gym when we were in our 20s, hopefully, but it's one of those, you want good form with what you're doing. I always tell people the last rep should look like the first rep. So that's what you're trying to accomplish with your activity, is good form with what you're doing. And then a 10 to 15 repetition count is a good place to be. If you can do it 25, 30 times with your exercise, that is great. You're getting conditioned, but I always remind people, then it's getting too easy. So you want to challenge yourself. So if you're, just like with 3rd grade math, if it's getting easy, more problems doesn't make you smarter. You want to go to 4th grade math. And that's it with your exercise. You want to look for ways to challenge yourself if your exercise is getting easy as well. Okay. Now, flexibility, same idea. Biggest thing out of this with flexibility, I tell people, best time to do flexibility work is after you're warmed up. So the best time to do that a lot of times is after an exercise session. Your joints will thank you. They're warmed up. They're more pliable. You get better results from it. You don't want to stretch cold muscles. We can injure ourselves. So a good warm up is good, at least, if not an exercise session. Now dynamic, just so going through a range of motion would be fine before an activity. If you're a golfer, going through some rotations, things like that are good to get yourself warmed up. That would be more of a dynamic flexibility workout. And then your static stretching or your holds would be done more towards the end of a workout as well. You might do yoga or Pilates. Look at those options. Those are great things to use as well to incorporate that. And big thing is you don't want to overstretch. Okay, so you want to make them gentle there, as you see at the bottom. Give your muscles time to respond and then give it a hold. But this can help out with back issues, joint issues, especially if you sit a lot. So it's one of those things where if we're sitting a lot, we're just locked up or closed up, going back to that fetal position. I've noticed that being behind a desk. And it's one of those things, if we can get up, stand up, straighten up, open ourselves up, that can help out with a lot of joint pain as well for the flexibility work. Okay. So the last part of a well-rounded program is balance exercise. Okay, so again, use it or lose it. So when we were young, we would run around, we would have everybody jump up on stuff, try to see what we could balance on, right? We don't do it as much as we get older. So anything that we can do, simple version would be standing on one leg. So I have clients that would actually practice their balance. They may brush their teeth standing on one leg in the bathroom, or when they're making their coffee, they may do something like that as well, just to try to work on their balance. More complex would be if you're doing yoga poses, things like that would help out with that, depending on what you're doing. And this is really important as we do age. So as our bodies age neurologically, we need to keep this up so we can get the benefit from that as well. So again, well-rounded program would be a cardio and aerobic component, a strength training component. We're working the muscles differently with all these, flexibility or range of motion work, and then also some balance activity. So if you find one here that maybe you're not quite doing, this would be a great thing coming into spring, is to add into your routine to try to balance out your program as well. So now some of the trends that we see out there since COVID, and the gyms shut down and things like that. What the ACSM is an organization, the American Council on Exercise. What they noticed is that the first year the home exercise gym has appeared as a fitness trend. Okay, so it's a big deal. A lot of times there will be classes, things like that. People are actually working out at home again, which is really neat to see. Very convenient. Sometimes it's too convenient, right? We have other things we could do like laundry instead of our exercise. So it's one of those things that fitting it at home is good. This can, if you're lucky enough to have a treadmill, bikes, rowing machines, ellipticals, a lot of people have these at home. So these are great options to use. I know some people had to dust them off to get them out again, but that's okay. Free weights, resistance bands, exercise balls are great options to use. And then here you see on the bottom, you can actually buy products like the mirror, Ring Fit, things like that you can actually use for workout sessions. A lot with Peloton out there now, if you've ever seen those, to where you can actually do classes online with a bike. So, but good old fashioned things, jump roping, trampoline, things if you remember back that you used to do in gym class, still are just as good as they always were. In fact, they even have come back and they're getting popular again with medicine balls. So just using anything that you can use as a resistance is great for that at home exercise as well. Again, convenient and cheap is what's nice about this as well. And if you don't have dumbbells, things like that, here are some options of things as a trainer I like to give people if they're looking. So as we said earlier, you want to challenge yourself. If it's getting easier, you want to challenge yourself. So you can use water bottles for dumbbells. If you think of it that way, that can give you a little more resistance. They even sell dumbbells that you can fill with water. They're empty, that you can put in and use those as well. Heavier things, laundry detergent jugs or heavier weights. And backpack, if it's getting easier on your walk, you want to challenge yourself, you can put a little weight into a backpack, go with that as well. And resistance bands, they're not that expensive, but if you're looking for other options, people have actually used pantyhose or leggings to do that as well. And I always tell people too, if you're having struggling with your flexibility routine, a beach towel is a great thing to use to help you get into positions, to help you stretch and hold on to something. If they always say grab your toes, things like that, you don't have to do that. You can use a beach towel, things like that, to help you pull yourself into a stretch. Okay. Now, other options, online classes. So there's live virtual classes that are out there, on-demand streaming classes. Check with your cable company. A lot of times they have free classes that you can get there as well. And virtual classes have been gigantic since the pandemic. So it's one of those things where you can find these online now. If you do apps, they have a lot of free apps out there. They even have little 7-minute routines if you're wanting to get started. And these can be a great plan B if you happen to go to the gym and you currently exercise at the gym. These are a great plan B if you're looking for something that you just can't get there, or you don't feel like going on a specific day, or you're traveling, are great options that you can use as well. Okay. Now, as we get into nicer weather, outdoor activity, another option to go with. This is personally my favorite. Now they term it as a green exercise, so it doesn't take a lot, utilize a lot. You can just get outside. It's affordable. You don't have to worry about the gym membership. You can do it on your own by yourself, or you can do it with a spouse, friends, make it social. A lot of times you can find small groups in your local community, walking groups that meet a lot of times at the park. Sometimes they even have classes like that. That could be specific organized bike rides, hikes, things like that. So definitely can look into those in your community if there's things you're looking for to keep yourself fit. And a big one, accountability. So if you're looking to get started on something and just feel like you don't follow through on these things, as accountability is great. So someone else to do it with, you can hold yourself accountable there if you're even looking to walk around the neighborhood and things like that. Okay. So lastly, as we're wrapping up, tips for success that I can give you. Okay. Really simple here. It's don't overthink this. It's choose activities that you enjoy. So people ask me as a trainer, what should I do to get in shape? Step one, I throw all the science aside, do something that you enjoy. Okay. If you happen to be walking outside, one thing I always recommend is wear something that's highly visible. Okay. So that cars can see you. You want to stay safe if you're exercising outside. So definitely think about your environment, where you are, and that's what you want to do as well. Find out what motivates you. Okay, why do you want to do it? So have a great reason. Go back to those things that we talked about earlier on what benefits will you gain from it. So you want to have what's going to motivate you to do it. What is your vision down the road? What do you expect to happen if you start exercising? How will you feel? And maybe hopefully you've done it in the past, so you know what you felt like before, and that's what you're working towards. Again, progressions. So don't do too much too soon. If you were a marathon runner in the past and you haven't been running for 2 years, don't expect to be there tomorrow, right? So one step at a time, and then we always recommend mixing it up. So don't do the same thing all the time. Change around what you're doing. So you got a few things here, from the cardio to the strength to the stretching to the balance. Mix that around, especially so you don't get sore, tight, and you can't do it for the next few days. And you might need a little more rest in between compared to what we used to when we were younger. So sometimes you may need 2 days recovery between your strength training workouts before you do it again. That's okay. As you get conditioned, hopefully you'll notice that that will improve as well. Okay. So that's all I have. If anybody has any questions.
Yeah. So we did have one question come through. I'll find that. This one was submitted via the survey, but the question was, I have used a cane to walk for 2 years now because of arthritis and lack of balance with it. Where do I start as far as exercises to try and improve or reverse this situation?
Okay, beautiful. Great question. Okay, so step one, I always recommend as a trainer, if you're coming to me for this, would be talk to your doctor and what their recommendations are, okay? And if they have anything, restrictions that they may have you on, you definitely want to stay safe, right? So you want to, if you're struggling with the balance and using a cane right now, small exercise is good. Some more is not better. That could be broken up exercise. If you once your doctor clears you for exercise, there's no restrictions. Maybe that can start with walks, 5-minute walks. So don't think big chunks of time. Maybe through the day, I've had some people that I've worked with that they will start with 5-10-minute walks multiple times through the day instead of one big one, and then they're sore for a few days. So with arthritis, the neat thing is exercise actually can improve that, but then you got to stay within the parameters, find the sweet spot of how much can I do without inflaming it, okay? Now the balance things you can work on, again, like I was saying earlier, is just standing on one leg, having a countertop or something to hold, things like that, just to work on balance would be small things to work on as well. But again, working within your doctor's guidelines, and what they're telling you, and then just starting small and simple and gradually increasing, if that answers your question.
Okay, well, I'm not seeing any through the chat feature at this point.
That's because they're all exercising regularly,
Yes,
right?
right. Well, what we can do then is I can give everybody a few minutes back in their day. We can go ahead and close this. And if anyone has a question that they think of after this webinar, we can certainly answer that. You can go ahead and submit, and we will get you in touch, or we will forward the question to Thad, and then we will get you an answer. So we can do it that way as well. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and close. Thank you so much, Coach Thad, for joining us and for that awesome presentation. It was wonderful. So
My pleasure.
thank you.
Thank you all for joining.
Be well, everybody.